Welcome to Living Chassidus. Together, let's live the Chassidus we learn.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the Morning, 15 minutes to hopefully change our lives. Chanukah edition, Kodesh Sichos, Chelek Aleph, Pashas Miketz, learning the Chanukah Sichos. This Shiur, and the whole week's Shiur, has been generously sponsored by the Perlowitz family, Lul Nishmas Veli Bas Yitzchak, on her 70th yahrzeit. That what a schus it is to be Adam for us and for her, that she gets to have this opportunity of sponsoring the learning of Torah and the learning of Chassidus, and not the learning of Chassidus, the living of Chassidus. And we have the schus that with her, all this is possible, and we get to do this. So, yes, Baruch Hashem. So let's finish this off. Okay, so we were talking about in the Sikha the difference of the Chanukah Menorah versus or Chanukah in general versus a lot of mitzvahs. Chanukah, we said, we do in sort of two aspects. And we explained that there's the reality, sort of like what we see on the ground, then where its sources, and how does it mean? How do we express that? The reality is, on Chanukah, the mitzvah is done in an interesting way that it's mahajim and mahajim. We do the best of the best, which doesn't really apply to the other mitzvah. Normally, the mitzvah said, like it says the Gemara, goes to like 3 times, and then it goes, it's like a shams. But Chanukah is mahajim and mahajim. We do it the best of the best, and everyone does this way, and that's sort of, there's two kinds. On one hand, it's like it's a mitzvah that has an opportunity to do it this way, and the other thing is that we all do it this way. So then we said, and then we explained, what does it mean? Really, the Chanukah miracle is divided into two. There's 2 miracles, 2 celebrations. One is the miracle of the menorah, of finding the menorah and the oil, and the other miracle is the victory. And really, the victory is celebrated by saying Hallel and Al Nissim, and whereas the menorah is celebrated by of course lighting the menorah. It's very interesting. So we say we can understand these 2 levels of the celebration, side of the menorah and side of the victory. I understand there's sort of 3 levels in life, or 3 levels coming from Shemayim. There's in Shemayim, there's sort of 3 levels. There's the Teva Shemayim, which is like Torah mitzvahs. Then there is the Nes from Shemayim, which is Lamayla Miteva, which is like the victory of the wall. And then there's the Inyan Mesiras Nefesh, which is the oil. Because ultimately, like we said before, halachically, a lot of people don't realize this. Halachically, you can light the menorah with not pure oil. So what's this thing they went to Dafka find out pure oil? They could have used all the oil. When most of the B'yidin are impure, or they can't find pure oil, just as we use. And that's what the situation was. They could totally use regular oil. So why they come and search out and find? Because the menorah is symbolizing and the whole victory of the oil, which he was saying is a greater miracle than the victory, is a crazy miracle in itself. But the whole miracle, the real essence of the miracle, or the depth of Chanukah, really only expresses itself in the oil. And that's why Hashem helped them find this one jug of oil that still had the Kohen Gadol signature on it. But this is in Mesiras Nefesh. And like we said, what's the difference in Mesiras Nefesh and doing mitzvah b'hidur? Like we said yesterday, when you do a mitzvah b'hidur, there's sort of 3 levels. There's doing a mitzvah, simple mitzvah. Just do it. Rabbi, tell me what I need to do, and I'm done. Then the hidur mitzvah, then you get involved. You say, I love this mitzvah. I love the lulav nesreg. You take the lulav nesreg, you go buy a special lulav nesreg, and then when you come to the sukkah, you go shake it, and you with all this kavanah, and you're all excited, and you love it. Very yom tov sukkahs. And that's sukkahs, it could be anything. It could be lighting Shabbos candles. I love lighting Shabbos candles. And you go and you buy a nice lichter, and you come and you light, my beautiful lichter I bought, and it's a geschmack, and such a good time. This is amazing. We should have this experience with all the mitzvahs. But the deeper level, there's another level, which is Inyan Mesiras Nefesh. And what's the difference between Mesiras Nefesh and doing a mitzvah b'hidur? Or you could, and in other ways, you could say, what's the difference between the victory of the war on Chanukah, which is a crazy miracle, versus the finding the oil? it's the difference between the Hidur mitzvah and the Mesiras Nefesh. When you have a Hidur mitzvah, it's beautiful, but, and this is sort of the but, as much as beautiful, it's about me. I enjoy it. It's a big gift, and when you get to do something that you enjoy, but it's ultimately based off you. It's like in a relationship with a husband and wife, and a husband loves flowers. So he comes every Shabbos and the husband buys the best flowers for his wife, and he goes to the store and he asks him to take these flowers or put on this thing and this string around it. And he comes home and he brings it to her and he does a very good job and she loves it. And it's great. And it's very loving. Or you could say it's like the love language of the husband is the same as the wife's. So he can show love because this is his love language. But ultimately, it's him. Or it's the person themselves. That's the Hidur mitzvah. The Hidur mitzvah is my Hidur mitzvah. The husband buying the flowers for the wife, or could be the opposite, the wife buying flowers for the husband. That's the Hidur mitzvah, but it's coming from their enjoyment, their geschmack. Mesiras Nefesh is taking yourself and putting it aside and not thinking about yourself. Meaning, when the husband goes to buy flowers, in that example, when there's a Hidur mitzvah, he buys flowers because he loves buying flowers. When it's Mesiras Nefesh, he buys flowers because that's what his wife wants. Now, it doesn't mean, it's not like the minimum where he does whatever his wife wants. But what's the minimum requirement? He buys some crappy flowers, and he doesn't even think about it, he just takes it. We're talking about you do it with a similar or the same geschmack as the Hidur mitzvah, but the geschmack is not because I enjoy it, because God needs us. This is what God needs from me. What does God need from me? Or in a relationship, what does my wife need? Not, I like cleaning the dishes, so let me go clean the dish for my wife. What does my wife need now? Like the story that one time we went, when we were newly married, Hannah, we went to a friend's house for Shabbos. They lived out of town. And the husband wanted to pick us up from the bus station. And his wife, I was in the car, his wife calls him, and she's like, I need you to come home, I'm running behind schedule, can you come home quickly? She's like, yeah. And then he drove off to buy flowers. He comes home with his beautiful flowers, both for his wife, he's like, here's my flowers. And she is not so happy. And she's like, where'd you go? I need you to come home straight away. And he's like, I want to buy you flowers. So she's like, I didn't ask you to buy me flowers, I asked you to come home. So Hidur mitzvah is buying the flowers, it could be buying the flowers, whereas Mesiras Nefesh is coming home. And this is the idea we're saying, that the reason why the miracle of the oil is so great, and the reason why we found this jug of oil, and the reason why it lasted so long, is because in Mesiras Nefesh. And what we were saying yesterday, it's midah connected midah, that the way that it gets reciprocated. When we go with God and we say, it's my geschmack, this is how I do. So God does it the same way. This is my geschmack, so let me give you this. Whereas when you go Mesiras Nefesh, so God's like, well, talk about my geschmack, so to speak. Of course, not literal. He says, what do you guys need? Let me give you. And that's what we're saying. Ois Yutes, the last ois of the Sicha. Now, being that in Chanukah Amdu Bnei Yisrael Mesiras Nefesh, the Yidden had Mesiras Nefesh, Hayaz Lachein Neis Hachashemen. Therefore, because we came with the Inyan Mesiras Nefesh, that's why we had this miracle of the oil. Kedei Lirois Chibasa Mishal Yisrael, in order to show the specialness that we didn't have to Hashem. She'ein Allah Kol Kesh Yanei Mitzias. There's no connection with Mitzias. It's totally above and beyond anything. Al Yedei Inyan HaHidurim. Because when you go through Hidurim, Ba'han Hagashal Nisim, when you do Hidurim, you get miracles, which is above nature. He Kishura Imaguf, but it connects with the body. Imitzius. Mesiras Nefesh, Kishadam Mafkir. As Mitzius Legamri, when a person has Mesiras Nefesh, meaning put ourselves totally aside. Harehan Hagashal Maila, he Boifin Shaloi Chashuv Hashuva Kol Mitzius. So therefore, above acts with us as if there's no existence, no Mitzias. But on the other hand, when your Avodah is not connected to any Mitzias, He meireres b'nei Yisrael kivan shel Mesiras Nefesh. When we go without mitzios, that brings out within us the Mesiras Nefesh. Right? Dafka Mesiras Nefesh nimtzam b'chol Yisrael, and specifically Mesiras Nefesh we all have. Filu b'kash v'kalim, even the simplest of Yidden. Kishahu mislahiv shaloik inyan shater tzedakah. When he gets excited, not like Torah tzedakah. Yeah, it's exactly what we're saying till now. Mishum kach, because of this, Chanukah sheboy ha'isa hanhaga shalmayla kadei lerois chivas sha'isol, being that the miracle of Chanukah happened in a way that was totally above nature, which is showing us the specialness of Hashem and the Yidden. Davar shebnei Yisrael eru oisa ayim Mesiras Nefesh, that we brought out through Mesiras Nefesh. Yatzra he b'bnei Yisrael as inyan shel mahajim mahajin. We brought out this idea of mahajim mahajin. Le'rakio mitzvahs ketikuna, not just filling mitzvahs the way that was set, the minimum. Le'rakio mitzvahs v'hidur, not just doing mitzvah in the way of hidur, beautifying the mitzvah. Ki mahajim mahajin, the most awesomest way. His masrus, his battles muchlatas. Mahajim mahajin is coming from this inyan of Mesiras Nefesh, putting ourselves aside. And that's what we're saying. It's sort of interchanging. You can either put yourself aside or work on Mesiras Nefesh. Once you put yourself aside, it's automatically going to do a level of Mesiras Nefesh. This is something we all have. Therefore, yesh b'ner Chanukah ha'inyan shel mahajim mahajin she'ein nimtza mitzvah acheres. That's why specifically on this mitzvah you have mahajim mahajin. Mishum shekol inyan shel Chanukah hu mahajim mahajin ispatus muchletes v'hi inyan Mesiras Nefesh. Mahajim mahajin, which is the most beautiful way that we do the mitzvah, is the highest level because of what we brought to the table. We brought Mesiras Nefesh, and that brought out the mahajim mahajin. And so simply what we're saying is, Chanukah has this specialness that it's an inyan Mesiras Nefesh, is something by all of us. So let's try to bring this down a little bit in the last few moments. In short, Mesiras Nefesh, and this is sort of a forbearing that we have to have with ourselves and try to think about this. And this is sort of the lesson that Chanukah is trying to teach us. Do I do things because I enjoy it? I do things because I'm needed for this. And that's sort of Mesiras Nefesh. It's like, I think it could be, you could say, it's like there's a famous letter of the Rebbe to a guy that wrote to the Rebbe that he's thinking of committing suicide. It's like a 19-year-old kid. And he was thinking of committing suicide. He wrote to the Rebbe about it. And the Rebbe wrote to him back basically, very bluntly. The Rebbe says, I'm sorry to be so frank, but you'll forgive me. And basically the Rebbe says to him, because you've been taking the whole time, and you've been fortunate to be able to be brought up with all these good things in life, and now it's time for you to give. And the Rebbe said to him, once you start giving, and it's any way you want, because there's so many opportunities, the world needs plenty of people to give. And anything you give will make a very big impact, and all your issues will go away. And you could say like this, he's thinking to himself, about himself, I like this, I don't like this. So you could say in regards to Torah mitzvahs, he does the minimum, or he does mahajin, he has things that he enjoys, and that's why he does it. But the Rebbe is saying, stop thinking about yourself. Mesiras Nefesh is not about thinking about myself. It's what am I needed for? What does Hashem need me? What mitzvah do I need to be doing now? And that's Mesiras Nefesh. Like it says, we talked about it before, it's Mesiras haratzon, putting aside your ratzon. Meaning, my ratzon, what do I want to do? And Mesiras Nefesh, it's not about what I want to do. What does God need me for? And this Mesiras Nefesh can express itself at so many levels. It can be in Torah mitzvahs, and it can be like in a gift. That's a like a revealed way. It can also be in kedusha, when it comes to the family. You know, one of the biggest challenges we have in life is the lack of Mesiras haratzon and Mesiras Nefesh. Is that it's all about ourselves, and when it happens this way, that's why life gets so difficult, because so many egos involved. Even when it comes to good things, but it's like, I'm doing this for myself and my good things. Whereas when you have bittul, or you have Mesiras Nefesh, Mesiras haratzon, so then it's not about me, and then you can move on. And you can tell the difference. And people might even say that, when they're having a conversation, don't worry about it, it's not about me. Like, what's the job? What do we need to be doing? If I'm doing something wrong, tell me, let me know. And the person's coming without their own their own mitzvahs involved. And this is what Hanukkah brought out. And this is the specialness of the mitzvah of Hanukkah, which is expressing this idea of Mesiras Nefesh. And that comes out with everyone. So the foray that we're meant to have is wondering, how can we think a little bit less about ourselves? That doesn't mean to ignore my needs. I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to sleep. It's not about me. Of course, that's not what we're talking about. But it's realizing, how can I change my attitude to being what do I enjoy versus what am I needed for? And this is one of the most empowering things when we do that. And this is sort of, getting married. This process starts. Having kids is very much like this. Suddenly you lose all your sleep. And ask anyone that went from, once you get married and have kids, unless something changed, something magical happens, generally your kids don't sleep that much in the beginning, and every few hours you get up, especially for a mother, you get no sleep. And your whole materials becomes your baby. You sleep when you get a chance. It's only in the middle of the day your sleeping doesn't bother you at all. If I get a chance to sleep, I sleep. And you're eating, and your whole schedule transforms itself around the baby. And the way to be successful at it, you can also try to fight back on that. And you can know, I like to feed the baby, but I don't like to not sleep. So I'm going to make sure the baby sleeps the whole night. So that could be that's Hidur mitzvah. Hidur mitzvah is what I like to do with the baby. Mahadrin and mahadrin is whatever I'm needed for. So I need to wake up now. I need to go to bed now. I'll go to bed now. I need to take care of the baby. I'll take care of the baby. It doesn't matter. And it takes a while. I'll tell you, from my experience, it takes a while to get to that point. But if you keep on working at it, suddenly you get to it, and you're like, okay, I'm up now. Like, could be 3 a.m. I've never experienced this until I had kids. It's like 3 a.m. I'm up, done. Like, my baby's up. I need to take care of it, whatever it is, and you learn to switch on. And this is sort of this idea. One of the aspects, one of the ways to look at this. All of us should have this mahadrin in our lives, and it should be like the miracles of Hanukkah. We should have those type of miracles in our lives. Have a Freilich Hanukkah and good Shabbos.